Cowbell crew, and welcome back to the second part in our collab with Ad Hoc Studio on how to create your own Dispatch cosplay. For those not in the know, Dispatch has a very cool concept. In this game, you work as a superhero dispatcher, working alongside a roster of heroes who also happen to have some slick outfits that could be your new cosplay this con season. Dispatch is available on Steam, PS5, Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, and coming this summer, Xbox. We have included a link below where you can check out Dispatch, and do be sure to click or like this video if you want to see more videos like this from us in the future. In part 1, we tackled Invisigal, and in the world of cosplay difficulty, she clocks in at easy mode. For Blonde Blazer though, we are going to crank it up to a medium level difficulty. Stretch fabrics are not the easiest to work with, but we are going to give ourselves a leg up here by modifying some base clothing and making small tweaks to simplify the design. Most of Blonde Blazer's outfit is made up of stretch fabric like spandex. We've got these white stretch sleeves, we've got leggings, a blue bodysuit, some very fitted gloves, and boots. Now, a very realistic superhero costume might recreate that bodysuit via seam lines and cup installations. But that is some very advanced technique, so we ain't gonna do that. Instead, we are going to start with a high neck stretch leotard and add the body lines on top. You have a few options for this. The absolute easiest is to, of course, just use a black fabric marker and draw it on. However, we are going to tack on soutache cord, which will give each of these lines a raised dimensional effect. Step 1 is to wear your leotard while patterning or put it on a body double. This is a 100% must for any stretch fabric. These materials stretch out and change while being worn, and it's really just not possible to pattern on flat, unstretched pieces. Starting in the back, pin down the soutache cord and lay it across your body, following the black lines in the artwork. Pin it every few inches so that it feels secure and looks nice and smooth. Now, you may notice that a big downside of the soutache cord is that it doesn't stretch. So if you're making this outfit for someone else, or you're new to this process, or you have to pin it on a dress form that's not exactly the way your body looks, I'd actually not use this since it won't stretch to other proportions. Instead, I would follow these same steps with stretch elastic cord. It's not as thick as soutache and so it's not as dimensional, but it will be much more forgiving since it can stretch with your body. Once you have the first cord tacked all the way around to the back again, remove the leotard and hand sew the soutache or elastic down in each of those pinned spots. Then put your leotard back on and repeat this process for each of the remaining body lines. This is a lot of hand sewing, but it is a pretty dang cool effect once you're finished. It's also the only modification you need to make, aside from adding some small triangles of black stretch fabric to the armholes. Is it weird that I love fake thigh highs? I think they look really cool, and Blonde Blazer's design with the leggings actually makes our job a lot easier. We are not making thigh-high boot covers because my personal hell is thigh highs that constantly roll down. So instead, we are making fake thigh-high boot covers or leggings masquerading as boots. Instead of two separate pieces, we are going to be attaching our boot covers directly to our leggings, which means that they will always stay up and look perfect. This is a technique and a pattern that we talk all about in our book, Fabulous Cosplay Footwear, but to start, we've got a nice thick white legging for the base and some deep blue 4-way stretch spandex fabric from our stash. If you have a boot cover pattern or a duct tape pattern, you can use this, but if you don't have one, just put on your chosen shoe and wrap the fabric around your leg and foot, making sure that the grain runs straight up and down. Pin the fabric along the back of the leg until it's nice and taut, and then continue pulling the fabric tight and pinning along the bottom of the foot. It's actually easier to pattern this if you also add a seam to the front of the leg as well, so be sure to also pin the front if you want an easier project. Choose a zigzag stitch to maintain the fabric stretch, and then sew up the back of the boot cover or the front if you added a seam there too. With the covers sewn together, it's time to attach them and add the front V. The easiest way to do this is to pull on both your leggings and the boots on top, and then just pin them to each other. You can also hem the boot covers in the same step by folding down the edge of the blue fabric before pinning. This is also when you want to mark out the front V using pins in order to keep the blue and the white fabrics together while stretched. Once flat, cut away the blue about 1/4 of an inch away from the pin, and then sew all along these hems using a zigzag stitch. And once both legs are complete, you should be able to wear these around con all day without ever worrying about them rolling down. If you didn't add a seam to the front, you probably ended up with a little bit of extra fabric at the ankle, which is totally fine for this design because it's going to be covered up by that little white cuff. Pin and sew down that extra fabric, and then cut off a few inches of fabric from the bottom of your white leggings. Take them in if you need to, and then fold the edges of the cuff before sewing both edges to your boot covers. So the need for gloves is another reason why this is definitely a medium difficulty costume. Gloves are annoying. Honestly, the only reason I don't say to just buy the gloves is because they may not match your boot covers if you don't use the same fabric. However, if you have time, you can always start by purchasing blue gloves and then look around for blue fabric that matches for your boots. If you do need to make your own gloves though, always start with a 4-way stretch like our spandex. Grab your favorite stretch glove pattern, or if you are picky about the fit of your gloves and you want to self-draft them, you can do what we did and lay your arm between 2 pieces of fabric, pinning all along your arm and between your fingers until the fabric is taut. Hand sew along this pin line to base it in place, and then machine sew over that same line using a zigzag stitch. Blonde Blazer's cape is definitely going to be the hardest thing to pattern in this costume. You can do what we did and draft this yourself on a dress form, but we figure we already patterned this, so we've included a link below to the shape that we created, which you can also use as your starting point. Your yellow fabric does not actually need to be a stretch here for once, but it does need a bit of structure at the edges that you can add with a medium to heavy interfacing, or you can do what we did and sandwich in a layer of something called foss shape in between the collar fabric and the lining. Foss shape is this really interesting material that is soft until you steam it, and then it hardens slightly into whatever shape you were bending it into. And in this case, while steaming, we tilted the edges of the collar upward. To create the cape itself, cut out a big 40 by 40 inch square and hem. Then set your machine to a basting stitch and sew a line underneath one of those hems. Gather until it's roughly about the length of both pieces of the back collar. You can just sew this gathered hem straight to the right side of the collar if you want, or if you want to be fancy, sandwich it between the collar and the lining pieces in order to trap all of the raw edges inside. Finally, we have the mask and gem accessories, and we've included a link to the mask pattern below. You can cut this shape from thin craft foam, but for a more face-fitted mask, I actually like using Worbla. Whether you're using foam or Worbla, heat your material up with a heat gun and then form it over a foam head. Or you may be able to use yourself as a model if you protect your skin with a layer of fabric or felt and allow the material to cool until it feels safe enough to handle. Also remember to always do this in a ventilated space near a window while wearing proper PPE. We needed some holes and string to keep the mask in place, so punch these into the warm Worbla with a big ol' embroidery needle. To prime the surface for the paint, I'm applying a layer of Cosflex primer, which is similar to Mod Podge but more flexible, followed by a layer of white and then several layers of blue acrylic. Blonde Blazer's eyebrows are actually part of her mask, which is extremely funny. I don't trust myself to freehand this, so I definitely suggest cutting yourself a little eyebrow template like this one, which you can position on the mask and trace out with an artist pen or a marker. If you have a 3D printer, a perfect copy of Blonde Blazer's gem model is actually available online. However, we wanted to use this super shiny acrylic gemstone. These are readily available, but they tend to be asymmetrical diamonds instead of an actual pentagon the way that her gem is. So what I'm gonna do here to give the illusion of a pentagon is place the gem inside of a pentagon-shaped setting made from craft foam. The outer edge of the setting should be a few millimeters larger than the stone, while the inside should be a little bit smaller. Prime and paint the foam gold before applying glue to the bottom side. When it's pushed against the gem, it makes this nice angled bevel that also cuts off the top of the point. To attach our gem, we're going to cut another piece of foam, this time a bit smaller than the entire shape, paint just the edges of the foam gold, and then tack it down all around the cape collar by sewing directly through the foam. Very carefully apply glue to the foam or to the back of the gem and then press the gem into the foam landing pad. You could just glue the gem directly on the cape, don't get me wrong, but I actually find that gluing directly to fabric is not always the most secure. Sewing the base foam on, though, creates a very secure hold that tends to be stronger than glue alone. And there you have it! Blonde Blazer is an ambitious project for someone who wants to up their stretch fabric game, but it is a great one to start with as a first-time superhero cosplay. Because of the sewing required, I suggest giving yourself about a month from start to finish, especially if you are sewing your own gloves and the bodysuit cord. Again, a huge thank you to Ad Hoc Studio for collaborating with us on this guide, and you can find all of the base materials we used, as well as several patterns listed below. Be sure to also click the link to try Dispatch out for yourself, and we'll see you next time.